When you have $1 million, tell no one. And here's why. $1 million doesn't make you free. In fact, for a lot of people, it makes them reckless. And that's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. And today, I'm going to expose why announcing wealth usually weakens it, how lifestyle upgrades quietly destroy your financial progress, and what actually creates lasting freedom. This is Building Your Money Machine, where we help you master your money so you can eliminate financial stress and live a life by choice, because earning more doesn't make you free. A money machine does. And I'm your host, Mel Abraham, and I've spent over 30 plus years as a CPA, as an entrepreneur, as a money mentor, and someone who's walked the path to financial freedom himself. And I can tell you with certainty, income is temporary, but systems will change lives. And if you're ready for some straight talk and some real strategy, let's do this. So why am I telling you when you have $1 million to tell no one? Well, here's why. Because there's a dangerous moment in your financial life that happens, and it's the day you actually think you made it. See, from the outside, $1 million looks like arrival. It looks like freedom. It looks like you should be taking victory laps and cue the confetti cannons. But from the inside, that number can quietly create pressure. It can quietly create expectations and really start to change your spending habits into things that you didn't intend. And the decisions that you start to make potentially work against you. And I've seen it happen with clients and others out there. So today, I want to walk through the 3 things that really will hit home. Why $1 million isn't what people think. Why announcing it can actually hurt you. And I don't mean like broadcasting it, but in the way you live for status and that kind of thing. Live your life. Live it richly. That's what I stand for. That's what I want. But I want you to live it within your values, not to impress someone else. Okay? And what really creates freedom? Because that's really what's driving everything, is a life of choice, a life of freedom, a life that you get to decide each and every day. And let's start with this idea, this realization that $1 million is not what you think, okay? Most people, when they hear $1 million, they picture cash, they picture cars, they picture comfort. And the reality is, the real life is, being a millionaire usually just means net worth. It doesn't necessarily mean spendable money. So let me put my recovering CPA hat on for a second and kind of walk through this and bring it real, okay? Say someone has a home worth $900,000. That home has a mortgage on it of $600,000. So they have equity in the home of $300,000. They have a 401k that has $250,000 in it. They have a brokerage account with $75,000 in it, and they have a cash account, a high yield savings account of $25,000. Now, on paper, they hit it. They're a millionaire. But here's the reality of it, okay? $300,000 of it is the home equity. It's trapped in the home. Now, you can't get at it. It's not going to pay for your living and your expenses. Now, granted, you're living in it, so there is value there. But I'm just trying to get you to understand the differences here. $250,000 of it is locked in a 401k, in a retirement account. Now, can you get to it? Certainly you can, but typically there's a tax impact to doing it. And if you're underage of retirement age, then there's a penalty on top of the tax to do that. So that is somewhat locked. And then you look at the rest of it, so only about $100,000 is actually accessible. The $75,000 in the brokerage account and the $25,000 in the cash account. That's a millionaire who still needs a paycheck. They still have bills. They still have stress. They still can't just say, yeah, I'm going to skip work for a month. That's why I always ask, if everything stopped today, how rich are you on Tuesday afternoon? Because the difference between net worth and freedom is that, okay? That's the difference, because we can have net worth on paper, but if we don't have a machine that is paying for the lifestyle we want, there's no freedom there. You're still locked in. And once you see that, I think something else becomes obvious, which leads me to kind of this next point, and that is this. Making money is a season, but building wealth is a system. Okay. I talk about systems all the time. Here's what I've noticed over the decades. Silent millionaires tend to keep lifestyles reasonable, and they have a system of how they live their life. They invest consistently. They avoid broadcasting success. Now, again, I'm not saying not to have nice things. I'm just saying that if what's driving you to have the nice things is to impress other people, it's probably the wrong way to go. We have nice things. We live a good life, but we do it based on our values and what matters to us. They also focus on ownership and cash flow. They want to own things and have cash flow from those things, pay for the lifestyle they want. And this one, I think, is important. They think long term. They think in the terms of decades. And sometimes they think in terms of generations, especially the ultra wealthy. But then you look at the flashy wealthy. That usually brings something else to it. They are building and allowing their lifestyle to expand, not because of their values, but because of what it looks like on the outside. They're expanding it because of social pressure. They're expanding it because they're comparing themselves. They're expanding it for status. But when that expands, guess what? The spending to match that identity expands also, instead of making sure that the spending is following a strategy. And that's why I say that the loudest wealth is usually the weakest wealth. Think about this. There's an NFL player, Cam Newton. Many of you may know him, and he teaches us something powerful. Cam earned something like $133 million during his NFL career. Now, this would be like set for life money. From the outside, you look at it and go, oh my God, this is gold. And it truly is. And at his peak, he was making almost $1 million a week in there. But when he stopped his NFL career, he openly talked about what happens when those checks stop, and the realization that they always do. Eventually, the checks stop. Not because you failed, not because you were irresponsible, but that's just how careers work. And Cam said this. He said, income is a rhythm. And once the rhythm stops, you quickly find out how much of your life depended on it, not on what you actually own. Okay. And he sees a lot of his colleagues and other athletes and other people that have these large volumes of income, but they didn't think about what happens when the check stops. Because he, in essence, is saying that your income changes. When your income changes, but your expenses don't magically disappear, that's when you start to have problems, because your bills still show up. Your lifestyle that you created still costs, and it's going to cost what it costs. And that's when you find out something important. You're no longer living on what you earn. You're living on what you build. Now, Cam didn't lose money. He lost the engine that was producing it. And that moment doesn't just hit athletes. It hits entrepreneurs after they exit. It hits executives after layoffs. It hits professionals when they step away. It hits people entering retirement. And it's the very premise of why it's so important to build that money machine, to separate your ability to live and everything, your ability to earn, from the efforts to earn it. And that reveals the truth most people never plan for. Making money is a season. It's not a lifetime. But building wealth is a system. So let's look at this for a moment. Let's put some real math to it, because when you start to understand that net worth doesn't feed you, cash flow does, then you start to understand how to build that machine. Say you have that $1 million invested, and at a conservative 4% withdrawal rate, that's about $40,000 a year. Roughly $3,300 a month before taxes. Now, let me ask you honestly, is that rich? Now stack that against real life. $3,000 for housing, maybe $1,500 for living expenses, $800 for healthcare, $1,000 for life, travel, and fun. Now, mind you, if that's the case, you're not living some extravagant life, and you're already upside down. See, that's because $1 million doesn't fund $1 million lifestyle. See, $1 million isn't what it once was. It funds a modest lifestyle unless you pair it with other income systems. And that's the difference. See, your net worth might give you options, but your cash flow gives you the oxygen. And so what happens is that I notice that a lot of people don't even know what it costs them to live. They don't even know how large of a money machine they need to build. They don't know how to create an income stream that's going to support the lifestyle they want. And that's where they get caught. And they get caught later in life where they can't do anything about it. It's one of the reasons I created something called the Freedom Number Calculator. It's totally free. And I'm going to hook it up here, but you can get it and go to melabraham.com/number. But it's going to allow you to look at it and say, hey, if I want this kind of life, and I think it's going to cost me this much money every month, every year, how big of a machine do I need that's producing cash flow so I can live that life without having to work? Okay, plug in the numbers, get the clarity, because clarity beats guessing every single time. Now, here's the other part, though, that comes in that doesn't show up in the spreadsheets. And I think that this is something that we need to really think about, because financial decisions aren't just math problems. They're emotional habits. You can know the numbers and still make wrong choices because of your identity, because of your expectations, because your nervous system has adapted faster than your logical choices have. Okay. And I see this all the time, that all of a sudden we've got income coming in and we don't think it's going to stop. And we don't do the things that we tell you to do with the wealth priority ladder, creating an unshakable foundation to make sure that I have my debt under control and that I'm not living on destructive debt, to make sure that I have liquidity in place to carry me if there's something, God forbid, unplanned that happens. 60% of people can't stomach a $1,000 unplanned expense. That is a travesty, but it's also a train wreck waiting to happen. And so it's important to start to understand things. But once you start to upgrade your lifestyle, it's not just financially hard to scale it back. It becomes emotionally brutal. And the crazy thing with our retirement system is it's broken in the sense that they've historically told us to just make money, put money away, save. And when you get to that day, that retirement day, they typically say, if we can replace 70% of your salary, you're okay. Well, I don't want to reduce my lifestyle by 30%. If I've worked all my life and I'm retiring, I want it to stay the same. Heck, I want it to go up. But to imagine that you've got to reduce your lifestyle and scale it back after you've upgraded it. Now, you've got to be responsible, but it is emotionally brutal because our nervous system adapts to that level. It's called the hedonic treadmill. Your identity shifts to that level. Your expectations rise to that level. And now all of a sudden, downgrading feels like failure, even when it's the smartest move. See, that's why lifestyle creep is so dangerous. It doesn't change your budget. It locks you in. And so I think that that's the thing that we need to start to understand is about being intentional, deliberate, conscious, aware, building a life that you want in a way that you want it, and then creating a money machine around you to support it. And that could be $1 million. It could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 5, it could be 10. I don't care what the number is. What I care is that you're living the life that you were put here to live, fully expressed. And here's the kicker. If you broadcast it or tell other people, it actually makes it worse. See, telling people will create an emotional trap that's even stronger than it was before. Because once others see you as rich, something changes. Okay, their expectations go up. The pressure on you goes up to sustain that image, if you will. Spending now becomes justified not because of your values and desires and needs, but because you're trying to do it for other people. The discipline that got you there to build it starts to slip. And one upgrade never stays one upgrade. A new car demands new insurance. A bigger house wants new furniture. A flashier wardrobe wants more upkeep. And that's how people wake up inside a lifestyle they never intentionally designed. Silent wealth stays flexible. Loud wealth becomes trapped. And when I say loud wealth, I think a lot of that is wealth that's driven by how it looks in comparison to others, social media expectations, versus silent wealth or wealth that is internally generated, that you sit back and say, what do I want? It's why one of the first things I do with my students and my clients is let's talk about defining your life, a life that you want, forgetting what the expectations are of your degree, your profession, your career, social media, siblings, parents. I don't care. What is your life? You are here to live your life. Let's define that. Then let's put a price tag on that, and let's build a machine so you can live the life that you want to live, not something expected by someone else or something else. Okay, so let's bring this home. Understand this. Income is temporary. Net worth is static. Cash flow systems are dynamic. Real wealth doesn't buy stuff first. It buys time. It buys options. It buys peace of mind. $1 million, it doesn't make you free. A money machine does. And if your wealth needs applause to feel real, it's probably not freedom yet. Okay? Build quietly, build intentionally, build something that lasts, and build something that's meaningful to you, the people you care about, the people that matter, because that's what matters in the long run. All right? I hope that this helps. I hope that you start to look at things through a different set of eyes. And I hope that this starts to get you to think about what's driving you on this financial freedom journey. Is it a statistic in a bank account? Is it a number out there? Or is it the life that you're meant to live? I hope it's the life you're meant to live. Let's make that happen. That's what I'm here to do. I want to help you live the life that you're meant to live. All right. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to get your thoughts. Do me a favor. Send me a DM. Send me a comment. Let me know what's going on. And while you're here, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. All right? It makes YouTube happy, and it warms my heart too. All right? Till I get a chance to see you in the next one, or the next episode, or on my road as I'm out there speaking, and on your path to your financial freedom. Always, always strive to live a life that outlives you. See you in the next one. Cheers for now.